in the world like Action Park, where you're the center of the action.
Just go to Action Park. There's no other park like it.
When it's hot out, this is a great place to spend the day with your family.
Welcome back. Have you ever been to a place that is so generally dangerous and unsafe that you think to yourself, it blows my mind that this is able to be here? Take for instance, restaurants that used to have a play place. Sure, it seems all fun and games on the outside, but when you take a second to think about it, kids are dumb and they get hurt a lot. The workers barely even clean those things, and what an easy excuse to get sued. Well, what if I told you that there was a park that laughed at that fear in the face, making getting hurt a part of the attraction? Well, strap in, ladies and gentlemen, because today we are talking about Action Park, the most dangerous theme park in history.
Nothing in the world like Action Park.
In Vernon Township, New Jersey, 1978, Great American Recreation opened a water and amusement park to the public. The head, Eugene Mulvihill, recently opened a ski resort and wanted to make some more money on the side in the warmer seasons. Can you blame him? I mean, he already had a ski resort, wanted to make some extra bones, so he's like, hey, well, we got this land, might as well make like a theme park or something. So Gene figured, why not build an alpine slide down the ski trail, which was 2,700 feet, and 2 water slides and call it a day. Along with this was a go-kart track, which I can only imagine was up to regulation, and he named it all the Vernon Valley Summer Park, before formally opening it up as Action Park.
Action Park is better than Broadway.
Pretty solid start, you know, nothing too crazy. Got some slides, got some go-karts, fun little place for the summer. Bring your kids, bring your grandma, get the whole family out. Prior to the opening, Gene had zero engineering background. Perfect for building an amusement park. Who needs safety there? I mean, how hard can it be? Just send them down at full speed. They'll be all right, they're kids. Gene also has on record that he has said that regulations are just suggestions, which I read that and I thought that that was kind of funny because in high school, I had a friend and I remember him saying,
you know how stop signs are like just a suggestion?
And then I just stopped him right there and I was like, hey,
what are you talking about?
so I don't know, maybe people think that, you know, that stuff isn't the law and they're just suggestions. You don't have to stop into oncoming traffic, but if you think about it, you probably should. But no rush if you're in a hurry. The main man, Gene, was also known for having a lot of shady business tactics. Like what, you may be wondering? Well, let's get into that. For instance, he was known for stock manipulation and security fraud. Awesome. Gene would pump up stock prices artificially, convincing people to invest in things that really had no stability at all. He would also sell unregistered and sketchy products. Gene was pretty much drop shipping products, but he would artificially make them look better than they are. So people would be like, oh, this is a cool product, and then they invest, and then they get their money stolen. It's like taking candy from a baby. There are multiple occasions where Gene also misread financial details to clients, telling people that investments were safe when they most definitely were not. Interesting how that turned out. Also misreading. Well, it says here, you owe me $2 million. That was crazy. That's crazy. All right, you ready to pay that? I don't owe you nothing. Oh, my bad. Must have been this handwriting, huh? It was typed out. It's probably the most easiest thing to read. Well, what can I say? I need some new glasses. Scumbag. Eventually, the SEC shut him down and tossed him. We also have a little note here that says, Gene hated being talked down when it came to rules and regulations because they were getting in the way of him making moolah. It's cheaper to build the water slide out of wood. Let it rip. Then you get someone literally disintegrating on a slide. Ah! Our good boy Gene also made shell companies to basically pass money around so he could hide it. When one company would get a lot of lawsuits, he would rebrand it, push funds to it, and keep it pushing, which is insane. You have all these companies and you just bar hop. He also sued everyone that challenged him. This mofo was in court all the time. People that betrayed him, people that wanted to make things safer, all of that. If you look at him funny, he's suing your ass. With all this being said, a lot of people also believe that Gene had ties to the mob. That would kind of explain, you know, all the money situations and him getting away with all this shit. We got Joe Pesci here running an amusement park.
I tell you what, you're gonna get the water slide made out of wood and you're gonna like it. I don't care if you get splinters all in your back. Matter of fact, I want you looking like a porcupine. And if you say you don't like it, I'm suing.
How was that impression?
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
Gene's just out here looking at land thinking, how can I make this a fraudulent hellhole? No, let's take kids here and damn near kill them. And, I don't know, you pay me for it? However, I can say all this, but it doesn't mean anything to you guys yet. Sure, he was a greasy CEO man and financial dude, but aren't they all, Chad? Am I right? I mean, how bad can the amusement park be? Right? Well, let's take a gander at these rides. Like I said, Action Park started out with just a couple of slides and a couple of go-kart tracks. While still dangerous, it doesn't hold a candle to what it's gonna become. The following year, there were more slides added, a swimming pool, tennis courts, softball fields, etc. The place was growing and growing, and people in the 80s were eating it up. And I mean, can you blame them? That sounds awesome. I mean, they got slides, they got swimming pools, tennis courts, softball fields. I mean, in the 80s, bro, I would eat that up. I'd eat that up now. If there was like a place for everyone to just go and just do shit, you know, I'd probably be there. Later on in 1978, the Motor World section, including go-karts, open cockpit Lolo race cars, tennis ball tanks, super speedboats, and bumper boats, got a huge upgrade. Call me what you want, but this was my first time ever hearing of a bumper boat. I would assume they're just like bumper cars, but on water, which sounds extremely dangerous because of, I don't know, a propeller. It's probably a reason we don't see very much of bumper boats around. The Motor World section was about 250 acres, which is pretty freaking big for an amusement park area, I feel like. But it eventually got up to 75 rides, 35 motorized, which were all self-controlled, and 40 water slides. 40. Andy Mulvihill, the head lifeguard and also Gene's son, was recorded saying, Gene didn't want to do the same old shit, where you just get strapped into something or it twirls around. So funny. Let's just kill him. He continued saying, he wanted to take the idea of skiing, which is exhilarating because you control the action, and transfer it to an amusement park. There's inherent risk in that, but that's what makes it fun. Okay, I can kind of see the idea he's getting at, that like, oh, you know, basketball is dangerous, but it's fun. Skateboarding is dangerous, even skiing, like he said. But that still doesn't mean that there's no precautions taken so injuries don't happen. I'm sorry, but you can't send a 6-year-old down a vertical drop slide with no protection or barrier and just hope for the best. It's like 6 years old, eyeball poking out of his head. Also, not to mention, with say skiing, you usually start off slow, and anything more intense than that is an accident. With someone going down a concrete slide 20 plus miles an hour with some janky controls, it ideally should take some practice and preparation. Bare minimum, slap a helmet on them. But regardless, motherfuckers wanted to get hurt. It's like the SpongeBob episode where they went to the roller coaster and the guy was like, I lost my spleen or whatever. And they were like stoked about that. It's literally the same shit. Motherfuckers riding the fiery fist of pain out here. All right, let's get into these rides. The first one we got, which is I'm pretty sure the first and really their bread and butter, it was the most popular, is the alpine slide. Like stated before, this was 2,700 feet long, which is so crazy for a slide, I feel like. And you had to take a chairlift to get to the top of the mountain. Remember, this was a ski resort, so you know, it's either you climb the mountain or you take a ski lift, so. And the slide was made out of concrete, so if you fall off, it's probably gonna hurt. Little fun fact here, people would spit on riders and verbally harass them as they go up the mountain. That's badass. Kid going down, getting spit on. Wow, I love it here. The sleds were equipped with brake and accelerator control sticks, and they rode down the entire mountain, which actually is kind of sick. I don't know, riding down a mountain on a slide with like a little like control stick. That sounds kind of cool. These sleds, more than the mountain itself, caused many injuries. Apparently, the stick only had 2 speeds, described as extremely slow and then death awaits. Not to mention, the brakes barely ever worked. So 1 second you're going turtle speed, then the next you're damn near time traveling going the speed of light. You get down to the bottom of the mountain, you're 20 years older. This mountain is now called the Murph Space Station, sir. All right. The sleds were made of fiberglass and the track was made out of concrete and asbestos, which would lead to many skin abrasions. Making it worse, kids were also often wearing bathing suits. That fucking sucks. That sucks so bad. Hay bales were aligned on the curve, so if you get off track, which happens often, you would slam into it, hoping to soften the impact. No. Go jump onto a hay bale and tell me how good it feels. Go ahead, belly flop on it. The slide was deemed safe by park officials, disregarding the 14 fractures and 26 head injuries. 26, bro. 26 people went in there to have a fun day and they came out with a head injury. A head injury, that's like concussions. It's just insane to me. However, after only 2 years of being open, this park received its first death at this attraction. In 1980, Vernon Valley ski lift operator 19-year-old George Larson Jr. was thrown off the slide when his car hopped the track. After he went airborne, his head came in contact with a rock, putting the young man into a coma for several days, where he would eventually die. Oh my gosh. It's sad, man. My question is how long was he there for, right? So he gets thrown off this slide. 2,700 foot long slide. It's a mountain. So he must have flew right off, went into like, I don't know, probably like a woodsy area. He's sitting there in a coma. I highly doubt that they had people at the bottom of the slide, you know, counting like, oh, yep, he made it. You're good. I highly doubt that they had that safety or precaution. I would say he must have been there for at least 30 minutes, just unconscious. Could be bleeding out. Who knows? It's just so unfortunate. Think about going down a slide, getting tossed off and slamming your head into a rock. Slamming your head into a rock, regardless, does not sound pleasant, but I don't know, just, I feel for it. I can imagine doing that, and then my heart dropped to my stomach. I can imagine it. It's sad. R.I.P. George. Following up after this incident, Action Park released a statement. In response, they said, it was nighttime and rainy. Then why stay open? And since he was an employee previously, it shouldn't have even been reported. What? What does that even mean? What? Like, that doesn't even make sense. Yeah, since we give him paychecks in the past, who cares if he dies? He's one of us. You guys didn't even know about that. The Alpine, even after the death and many injuries, did not shut down until 2012, being reintroduced in the 90s when Action Park was rebranded to Mountain Creek. Old Gene's doings. Sticking to his guns. The Alpine slide, man. I mean, that is probably the main attraction. Whenever you look at Action Park, usually they have like the slides and like some of the pools and stuff, but I'm sure I'm gonna be like throwing up pictures and stuff. It's literally like just a little slide. And the fact that it went on for like so long, cause I mean, you know, slides like that, they're all over the place. But usually they're like pretty short. Like they're not like, they don't go that long, or they have some sort of barricade, or they have like precautions. This place was literally just raw dogging a slide, concrete, fiberglass. Send them. And you're going like 20 plus miles an hour. I mean, that shit is so dangerous. The next ride, this one really isn't that crazy, but I just want to talk about it because the name is badass. Snappy Snap Up Whippersnapper Ride. In 1991, there was a 70-foot tall 2-station bungee jumping tower near the slide. A bungee jump. I'm sure nothing but good can come out of this. During a media coverage of the ride opening, Andy Mulvihill, remember the son, pushed a reporter who refused to jump off the platform. Awesome, dude. Awesome. Way to, you know, make yourself look like a idiot. Apparently, the bungee sucked. There was a weight attached to it that prevented them from bouncing back up properly, and it was closed 5 years later. Not a long run time for this ride. I'm gonna be honest. I'm kind of surprised for a 5-year runtime of this ride. The only thing that we got from it was Andy being a dickhead. No death, no injuries. I mean, I see that as a dub, but I don't know if I can say that for the next ride, which is called the Cannonball Loop. I take it back. This one is definitely the most popular. I forgot that we talked about this. The Cannonball Loop was a perfectly vertical loop, which means people got stuck in it all the time. God, I forgot about this ride. This one's nuts. Gene paid $100 to teens to test it. These were often the employees. You'd be like, oh, I'd give you $100. Just go in there and try not to die. Really, Gene? You mean it? This ride was only open for a month, if that tells you anything. It was closed by the state's advisory board of Carnival Amusement Ride Safety, long ass name, which was a thing that never really happened at the time. I mean, how many rides did you hear about shutting down, or they didn't get approved, or any of that? Usually rides they have all those pre-checks, and it's a whole thing to make sure that they're safe and make sure that, you know, you got a plan how the ride is gonna go and all that, and they build it. All this is done usually beforehand, but not for good old Gene. He's like, oh, we'll build it ourselves. Which is also so crazy because this is like, Action Park was a direct competitor to Six Flags. People that didn't want to pay as much and go to Six Flags or Disney World, they went to Action Park. Like, it was huge. And all of this happening is crazy. Anyways, the board of Carnival, whatever the fuck I said. The state's advisory board of Carnival Amusement Ride Safety. They saw this and they were like, all right, we got to put an end to this. He's gonna actually kill somebody. again. A worker stated that there are way too many bloody noses and back injuries for it to continue. Lacerations were on so many kids' bodies and teeth were found inside the walls, cutting up the riders. Yes, I said that right. Whatever you're thinking right now of what that looks like, yes. Former Navy physician states that 9 Gs of acceleration were estimated as they go through the tube, similar to pilots doing flying maneuvers. Pilots. Think about pilots doing a loop-de-loop. Yeah, that's about the same amount of G's people were going in this little ass tube. I don't know how that works. I don't know. Maybe it's just how steep it was. It's crazy nonetheless. Also the teeth. I will give this ride the benefit of the doubt. They did throw test dummies in here to make sure it was properly safe and people can, safely ride this ride. And the results were actually really good. Many of the test dummies were dismembered and decapitated. Andy said he was the first live person to test it and was wearing full hockey protective equipment. And he said that it was not fun. Gene. So you have this ride, you got mannequins or dummies that are getting dismembered, decapitated. Shit's not going good. And then he was like, okay, dummies are weak. Let's go ahead and throw a living person in there. Hey son, get your ass in there. It was a ride that you rode to survive rather than to have fun. That's awesome. But you can kind of see, the people that would do this. There's people all over the place that'd be like, that video of the cop that's going down the kid slide and he's bouncing off the walls? I mean, that is like on such a lower level, but it's still funny. There's people that are like trying to get injured and they want to do weird shit like this. But whenever there's teeth, there is teeth lodged into these slides, like inside of the walls. So there is teeth poking out. It's insane. We'll get more into that later, but yeah. They tried to reopen it in 1995 and 96, but had to be shut down again after so many injuries. So they reopened it for just a little bit, and then it just more and more people were getting injured, and then they had to shut it down. Why they would want to reopen it, I don't know, man. I don't know. From a business standpoint, I don't understand why they would want to do that. Next up, we have the Tarzan Swing. The Tarzan Swing was a steel arch hanging from a cable over an ice-cold spring-fed pool. People, after jumping off of the swing, would go into this pool, and whenever they would, the water was so cold, they would be shock-induced. They would go into shock because the water is freezing. Also, while you were on the ride, lifeguards would roast you over loudspeakers. Want to get called Chevy while you're going down into the edge of death? People would belly flop into oblivion as they cannot really see what's down in there. This ride is pretty much just a swing into freezing water. This one, I mean, the Tarzan Swing, it's a simple ride. Think about just the swing and then they jump into water. The same injuries would happen here that happened on those swings anywhere else. People letting go too early, people not letting go early enough. And it was surrounded by I think they said there was concrete at the bottom or around it. So they would just slam right into the concrete, probably break legs, break all kinds of stuff. It was the same thing, except for the water is literally freezing. So if you miss it, you're gonna land on concrete. If you make it in, you're gonna go into shock. Just like a man in 1984 who had a heart attack from, I can only assume, the water, which it's just so sad. You have these lifeguards that are on the speaker, they're yelling at you, kind of like at Ren Fairs when you're throwing the tomatoes at the guy and he's calling you all these names. Oh, you're a fat Thanks, man. It's kind of the same thing with the swing, and this guy was probably getting called all kinds of names while he was literally dying. The Tarzan Swing, sure, it was dangerous, but it's kind of lighter when you think about it in the grand scheme and compare it to all these other rides. But what about the kayak experience / the tidal wave pool? These are two different rides, but I kind of clumped them together because they're somewhat similar. Both of these rides induced waves mimicking rafting or swimming in treacherous waters. Obviously, many people drown from this. If you look at stories and horror stories from Action Park, a lot of them are from the tidal wave pool or kayak experience. Kayaks often got stuck and tipped over many times, and in 1982, a man died while trying to get back in his kayak and instead stepped on an open wire of the electrical fans inside the pool. I either heard about this or I think something maybe similar happened at Disney World or something. The man went into cardiac arrest, and soon after, the kayak experience was permanently closed. The tidal wave pool, however, ran its course longer, but eventually got shallower as people couldn't keep up with the waves and would get tired and drown, which is so frightening. I mean, we've all been there where you get tired or you're in a pool, kind of like whenever you're in a pool as a kid and you can't keep up or you're in the lake or something. Water is just you can't keep up with the tides and stuff, and you're dead ass drowning. But these people actually were, and that is horrifying. After this, it was nicknamed the Grave pool. Like I said, this is not the only one that happened. I mean, many people drowned and a lot of people just got injured or like they would pass out or something like that. I don't know. It's so insane. I probably said that 15 times this video already, but I mean, how can you not? Next up, we have the super go-karts. These are a classic. These were one of the first bunch to be in here. The super go-karts went about 20 miles per hour. They were controlled by governor devices, but were worked around by employees for the guests by shoving a tennis ball into them. Because of this, the ride then became bumper cars going at 50 miles per hour, resulting in many head-on collisions. So basically, they're supposed to be like limited by a device to only go about like 20 miles per hour, which is still pretty fast. But yeah, they were controlled by a device, and then the employees would shove a tennis ball into like the engine, and I guess that would make it go faster. It would go 30 miles per hour faster than what it's supposed to, and kids would just run them into each other. Why? Who knows? Don't know why they didn't have helmets on. It's the 80s. We're having fun. The engines were reported to also be very poorly maintained, which led to gasoline fumes to swarm riders as they drive. So not only are they getting into head-on collisions, they're also getting f***ed up off of gasoline fumes. So that's a good thought. There are many, many more rides with crazy injuries, more deaths, and just stories in general. But we would be sitting here all day if I were to go through them all. That's just how much there are. Ranging from kids losing teeth to breaking bones or even more deaths, it gets crazy. If you can think of a ride, they probably had it and almost had someone die on it too. But how does this happen? How do so many people die on the watch of this company and these employees, visitors, etc.? You would think that they would keep an eye out or be on the lookout for any further, things to happen in the future and try to prevent it from ever happening again, right? Well, it turns out most of the employees were kids that were drunk, high, or both. It's the 80s, man. Beer was often sold at kiosks around the park and was very lenient on enforcing the legal age drinking limit. So there were, 15, 16-year-old kids walking up there, grabbing a beer and going and making sure kids don't die. Awesome. You want to send your little kiddo on a ride that's being watched by a cross-faded 14-year-old? Come to Action Park, we got you. Employees often would be sighted taking the go-karts onto the highway. I can't really blame them. This sounds kind of fun. Shit. Also, if you remember, our boy Gene and his mischievous ways, fake insurance companies were created to avoid safety regulations. With all this being said, the first aid area was constantly full. I feel like we don't even have to say that, but there it is. It's kind of like whenever you're at the top of the water park slide, but it's a 15-year-old drinking a Bud Light. Go. Oh. Oh. I actually did not read this. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his name. A dude from Reddit said, "Dude, I worked there as a lifeguard for 2 summers and as an EMT during ski seasons. The stories you hear ain't compared to what you didn't see." To which Goose Tavo 2013 says, "Do tell." To which he responds, "The parties stand out. Customers had no idea that any given time the lifeguards watching them and their families were almost incapacitated from hangovers that would cripple a rhino." Wait, that makes sense. I remember barely being able to walk and then being assigned a Mighty Mo. I don't know what Mighty Mo is. What's Mighty Mo? We about to get some ball knowledge? I think it's just a big slide. There's hell, then there's having to jump 30 feet higher into Arctic temperature waters. Did they not have a heater? Like a pool heater or something? We used to have an unofficial points competition with our ring based on how accurate your throw was. The highest score were awarded when you hit him in the face. Awesome. And our defense, that's all you could see above the water and you had to get as close to the struggling swimmer as possible. You're sitting there, you're fighting for your life, you're in ice cold water, you are swimming, you're drowning, and then you just get bonked in the face by a raft. It's so insane, bro. This park, no way that this is real. I knew one guy was proud of the fact he would grab a handful when he was hauling someone. All right, that's insane. That was one I had a problem with though, but he wasn't all there upstairs to begin with. That's disgusting. Of course, there's shit like that going on. We'd all get together after work and drink and smoke ourselves into oblivion and not sober up until noon the next day. Kinda sounds fun. Sex was nonstop the entire summer. All right, I think we get the idea of that. The water was so insanely cold that 4 people in the class had to get rescued. I wasn't one of them, but I did legitimately lose all feeling from my waist down from hypothermia. All right, what's this next one? Okay, so this is from a question of people were saying has anyone ever been to Action Park? If so, what are your stories? And someone said, yes, my brother and I went every year in the 80s and 90s. It was the best. We love how the rides were all do it yourself. Looking back, I could totally see where the danger and horror stories came from. Although at At the time, our family apparently had no idea, but the perceived adventure aspect was what made it so fun. Sketchy equals edgy equals cool and fun to us. We would take Action Park over Disney World any day, especially back then. This is kind of what I was getting at earlier. Like they make it actually seem fun. Like, you know, it's so edgy. It is unsafe. It's like crazy. It's like, oh, dude, no way you're gonna go down that slide. Dude, you won't kill yourself, bro.
Yes, I will, bro.
Just going to watch kids go down these slides and come out just mangled. That sounds so bad. You just see them go down like, I don't know. It would be fun just to watch people, bro. Finally, you know, the hype train of this does not go on forever. So eventually, there was the fall. Eventually, the lawsuits piled up. Local hospitals were overwhelmed. Regulators finally stepped in, and the park closed in 1996. Sure, you know, people are dying every other day, but come on, man, we're having fun, right? Right, you guys?
That's right.
Since then, there has been many documentaries and people telling their stories about the park. Gene eventually lost Action Park, but had his family members buy it back and basically allowed him to rebrand it, turning it into Mountain Creek. Gene, you slimy dog. Gene, however, went back into the real estate business. I didn't want to be tied to all that stuff anymore. He's like, fuck this, I'll have my kid deal with all that. To which he returned to, you know, still fighting people in court over land use and other petty things. Gene died in 2012 of old age, surrounded by family. Kind of a happy story for him. I'm sure a lot of people out there are kind of pissed about that, but it is what it is. The kids then took over the park. It got safer and safer and is now currently still up to date in New Jersey. However, it is under new management ever since it had to file for bankruptcy in 2017. That's insane, man. I mean, that's the, you know, that's the story of Action Park. Like I said, there are still so many things I left out. So many things I couldn't talk about. The teeth inside the slide, it has to be the craziest. I thought I kind of touched up on there a little bit more, but yeah, I mean, I was reading Reddit posts whenever I was getting information, and people literally saying like they would go down the slide and you could see the teeth from other people poking out the side of the slide. It's insane. Gene passed away in 2012. Maybe that's what the Mayan calendars were predicting. I don't know. You can't really hate Gene that much because people loved it. They wanted to go. They wanted to put their lives in danger, and they thought that was fun. You know, like that Redditor said, I would much rather go to Action Park than Disney World or any of that stuff any day of the week. Granted, there probably should have just been a little bit more safety precautions, you know, then it could have been all right. But I don't know if people would go to it at that point. So going forward, if you go to an amusement park, always keep an eye open because there is stuff that can happen even to this day. It happens all the time. Things are unsafe. It's just how it is. People don't pay attention. Shit can go south at any point in time. So, you know, be careful whenever you're going to have fun. And thank you for watching. Be safe. Shout out to the members, Garrett and Angelia. I just posted the Stranger Things reaction. More episodes are coming out on that. I will see you guys next Friday. Peace.
I love Action Park because it's so beautiful.
It's like coming to Broadway. It's wonderful.
Race like a pro. It's great.